Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is running into this key resistance in the short term and starting to struggle around this area on the price chart as the price is getting close to overbought territories on this chart right here. So in just a moment, I'll be talking about how this may or may not affect my exact Bitcoin trading strategy alongside the price of Solana, which is now retesting this critical level on the price chart, while the price of Chainlink is also now running into critical resistance and starting to struggle around this area. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and over the last 1 day, nothing's changed on this chart right here. So getting straight into the weekly time frame, and over the last 1 day, this bearish divergence on the weekly chart has not changed. So getting straight into this weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now we're still moving closer towards a bullish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. So we're still in the recovery stage out of this correction, like what we saw back here or back here, for example. But like I've explained recently here on the channel, we've not yet confirmed a bullish crossover in this indicator, which means at least for now we've not yet confirmed the massive bullish reversal, which means potentially we could still see a lot more bullish price action to come once we actually confirm that bullish crossover. But for now, once again, this indicator is showing that we are indeed in the recovery. And so once again, not a lot has changed on this weekly time frame and these larger time frames over the last 1 day. So getting straight into the daily time frame, and right now we're still obviously seeing that bullish price action from that major breakout here beyond this descending line of resistance. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart right now, technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still currently active for the price of Bitcoin. And so as always, a bullish divergence means we're most commonly going to see either some bullish price action, a slight bullish relief, or some choppy sideways price action as the most common outcomes. So basically the price action that we've seen over the last couple of weeks or so is pretty much a perfect outcome. It's usually what we end up seeing from a bullish divergence. And considering it's still currently active, continue to expect this sort of price action moving forward. But it is important to point out the fact that on the daily time frame, the RSI is getting very close to overbought territories. And so as I've already been explaining over the last couple of days here on the channel in my last few videos, I've been saying that because we're getting very close to overbought on the daily chart, this means we're likely going to slow down a little bit from all of this bullish price action right here. I've been saying expect a bit of a slowdown, maybe a bit of a short-term cool-off in order to help to reset the RSI in the coming days. And that can be in the form of either a bit of sideways price action or maybe a slight pullback as a likely scenario within the next few days or so. And obviously over the last few days, we have already started to see at least a bit of a slowdown from that previous bullish move. And so right now, this is still perfectly playing out, and considering we're still pretty close to overbought territories. Now, we're not in overbought territories right now, but we're very close, which means at least for now, expect a little bit more of a cool off in the coming days as one of the most likely scenarios just in the immediate short term here. And while the RSI on the daily time frame is getting very close to overbought territories, we are running into the most important area of resistance on this daily Bitcoin price chart based on the golden pocket area of resistance, the most important Fibonacci area sitting in between around 94,500 to 95,500, so close to almost 96,000, acting as significant resistance. And we can see that in the past, around February, this has previously acted as significant support for the price of Bitcoin, and also in early March it flipped into major resistance for the price of Bitcoin. So of course right now expect the price to struggle in this area, especially around close to 95,000, give or take, around 95 to 96,000, acting as major resistance, as I've already been saying since before the price just started to struggle around this exact area. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now we have a lot of liquidity building at around 100,000 and also at around 106 to 107,000. So when we consider all of this information, what is my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin right now? And well, obviously, if you've been following my channel over the last half a week or so, you'll know that I have been longing the price of Bitcoin here. I have been in a long position since from roughly 88,000. Basically, the moment we started to see the breakout here, especially above this previous high, basically forming a W pattern or double bottom pattern, at that point, I basically longed the price of Bitcoin, which I shared here on the channel back then. And so ever since that point, I have been in this long position, but between the entry and right now, roughly around here, close to 94,000 give or take, I did take a small amount of profits out of this long position, just slightly reducing the size of the trade. But obviously that was a few days ago now, a couple of days ago here. And over the last one day, I haven't actually made any changes to this position. So the last change that I made was around a day and a half ago, which I talked about in my last video. That was simply just moving my stop loss further into profits here. And so once again, over the last one day, I've not changed this trading strategy, at least for now. Once again, I'm still in the long position. I have not added to the position or reduced the position at all over the last one day. And obviously the price action that we're seeing right now was to be expected. I've been talking about this exact outcome as the most likely outcome I've been saying over the last few days. And so once again, even though I'm overall bullish on the price of Bitcoin, expecting potentially more bullish price action in the coming weeks as the most likely scenario, not guaranteed, but once again, I am in a Bitcoin long position. But despite that, once again, just in the immediate short term, in the next few days or so, expect the price to struggle and possibly see a little bit of a short-term cool-off as the most likely outcome. And obviously, we're already starting to see that now just in the short term, as I've been talking about. And now, if we end up seeing a little bit more of a rejection from this resistance, possibly retesting some of these key levels on the price chart, in that situation, honestly, I would potentially add to this Bitcoin long position, just in my trading strategy. As always, not financial advice. I'm just letting you know what I'm doing very transparently here on the channel. But of course, I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm not saying that's guaranteed to happen. I'm saying that if we see a pullback here, if we see a rejection, and let's just say retest around 90 to 91,000 and find support around there, personally, I would potentially add to this long position. Once again, not financial advice. But of course, if we do not end up seeing any further rejection here, and instead we just hang around this resistance and then ultimately break out straight away, obviously in that situation, I'll just keep the trade as is. And of course, I'll profit from that breakout as I am currently in a long position. And even in the worst case scenario, let's just say if the price absolutely crashes all the way back down here, once again, that's why I have my stop loss sitting above my entry right now in profits, which means even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashes, that would hit the stop loss in profits and close the trade automatically at that level in profits. And so that is what I'm expecting in the shorter term and the mid to longer term for the price of Bitcoin. And that is my exact trading strategy right now. And if you want to actually trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, like what I'm doing right now to easily profit in the crypto market, then I'll make sure to leave a link to this exchange, which I'm currently trading on, which is 2bit. I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, by the way, you can get some massive trading bonuses. And also 2bit, in case you're wondering, is a no KYC exchange. But in case you don't want 2bit for whatever reason, there's also Bitfinex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video. And if you use that link, by the way, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on Bitfinex forever. That's a massive lifetime discount on all trading fees over on Bitfinex. Once again, only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, right now, technically speaking, the larger trend has not changed over the last one day on the weekly chart. So technically speaking, we're still within a larger bearish trend, also known as a bear market, at least for Ethereum. But of course, in the short term, we are currently experiencing a decent bounce from this significant support sitting in between around 1.4K to 1550. So continue to expect a lot of support, a lot of demand around there. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart right now, we're sitting right on the edge of a possible breakout here, but we've still not yet confirmed the breakout above 1.8K because we still need to actually confirm at least a daily candle close above 1800, 1.8K in order to confirm this breakout above this Fibonacci level of resistance. And if we confirm this breakout here, in that situation, the next major point of resistance would be sitting at around 2.1K. But before 2.1K, we could also find a small amount of resistance at around 1.9K. And as I always say, the price of Ethereum, along with a lot of the major altcoins out there, will likely follow similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing. So for example, if Bitcoin struggles a little bit in the short term around this resistance and then perhaps ultimately sees a breakout later on, expect something similar to happen for Ethereum and a lot of the altcoin market. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 3-day time frame right now, Solana is still actively playing out this massive bullish divergence, which means continue to expect a bullish relief or at the very least a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. So once again, this is still actively playing out on the 3-day Solana chart. And if we're taking a look at the daily Solana price chart right now, as of recording this video, the price of Solana is currently coming in for a retest, actually retesting this previous significant Fibonacci level of resistance, which could possibly now act as new support, and that's sitting at around $146 to $147. And it's actually pretty important for the price of Solana to actually hold above this level and not confirm any breaks below this level, because if, for example, we confirm a daily candle close back below 146, in that situation, that would potentially just invalidate this breakout towards the upside, which at least in the short term would be a bit of a bearish signal. But in that situation, in that short-term bearish scenario, what I'll be watching out for to potentially still remain bullish on the larger movement here is some sort of higher low actually forming, because obviously we've recently just formed a new higher high for the first time in a long time for the price of Solana. And so even if we see a bit of a breakdown here in the short term for the price of Solana, once again, it's not necessarily all bad news if we end up forming some sort of higher low. That once again is what I'll be watching out for. And the next significant support towards the downside, if we break below around 146, which for now has not happened, but if that happens, the next significant support is at around 124 to 125. And we'll also likely find a small amount of support right here based on these previous points of resistance flipping into new support at approximately 134 to 135. But obviously, as of recording this video, we've not yet confirmed that break below around 146. So for all we know, we could simply just bounce here, and in that situation, of course, that'll be a bullish signal if we confirm the retest and actually flip previous resistance into new support. And in that situation, the next major point of resistance towards the upside is sitting at around $167, and above that we have more resistance at around 179 and major resistance in between around 191 to 200. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, at least for now, we've not yet fully confirmed the invalidation of this bearish divergence, which means technically speaking, based on this active bearish divergence on the 3-day XRP chart, we should not necessarily expect a lot of bullish momentum. So obviously we can see short-term bullish reliefs here and there, but not necessarily significant momentum towards the upside. And obviously I've been saying that for months now on the channel, since much higher prices all the way back here. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP chart, right now the price of XRP is still within this descending parallel channel, which is effectively a bearish trend forming lower highs and lower lows. But obviously during the parallel channel, the descending parallel channel, we can see short-term bullish reliefs. And here in the short term, over the last couple of weeks, that's exactly what has been playing out. And the price of XRP is currently developing resistance at approximately $2.23 to $2.25 based on these highs right here in the candle wicks. And above that level, the next significant level of resistance to watch out for is at approximately $2.45. But once again, as I always say, simply just follow the Bitcoin price chart to figure out what is most likely going to happen for XRP. So even if you don't hold Bitcoin, definitely pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing, because once again, if Bitcoin struggles here in the short term, maybe sees a slight little rejection, expect something similar for XRP in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame right now, just like Bitcoin, Chainlink is also exactly struggling around this key area of resistance, the golden pocket, based on the previous golden pocket area of support flipping into new resistance, and that's sitting in between around 1490 to 1550. So especially roughly 15 and especially 1550, that is the key resistance to pay attention to. And now technically speaking, the bullish divergence is still currently active for the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, which means continue to expect a little bit of a bullish relief or maybe some choppy sideways price action. But while the price is running into this key resistance, obviously we're trying to play out the bullish divergence at the same time as seeing a lot of sell pressure around this area on the price chart, which could possibly result in a bit of choppy sideways price action in the short term. And so just keep that in mind. Obviously right now the price is still perfectly struggling around this resistance, as I've been saying here on the channel. And once again, expect something similar for Chainlink as what Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin sees a little bit of a struggle in the short term and then maybe ultimately breaks out later on, expect something similar for Chainlink in the shorter term here. And as for these other levels of support and resistance, these have not changed over the last one day. So if you want to know more information about all of these charts that have not changed all that much, then check out my last video here on the channel. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto like what I'm doing right now to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.